Okay, welcome to our 53rd tea. I now keep the numbers, but I don't remember the names that we are giving them. But I think it is a portal, cosmic portal this time. We are entering in this, well, amazing transition. We have it every year, and then each year we get more and more insights about what happens during that period, because it's quite amazing. So it's a fall equinox. So we have spent half of our year in the northern hemisphere, where the day was longer than the night. And now we are transitioning exactly into the astrological sign of Libra. And this is, this is determining, well, the beginning of the phase of the year where the days start being shorter than the night. So Libra, this is the only sign that is not assigned to any animal. So we'll go into that and explore a little bit what are the significances and what is actually happening in the universe. I have prepared some little animation of our cosmic environment, our cosmic neighborhood to share with you. And then we will go and explore a little bit the edge of our known universe and go beyond. Hey, Anna. Hey,
Hello.
Anna. And I think we have Emma, if I'm reading this dolphin girl correctly.
No, that is Miriam.
Ah, Miriam. Ah, great. Ah, Emma is coming right now as well.
Well, and let's not forget what is the main reason why we gather every Saturday.
Exactly.
Is to have a beautiful tea together with beautiful cups and join the threads from all over the world.
Yeah, okay, Fabiana joining as well. So let's see who we have.
Cheers.
Hey. So we have Latvia, Bali, Norway, Malaysia, Italy, more Bali, Switzerland, Brazil, Serbia, and not Hungary. Emma, I think said you guys are in Malta, right? So Malta, beautiful. Okay. So I'm going to mute everyone, and then you guys unmute yourself as we start sharing. So the significance of this point in time is amazing. And it's one of those times when intergalactic journeys become easier and more possible, because at this moment, as we are transferring from being above the sun to being below the sun, we are actually crossing the plane that the solar system makes. And so our plane is intersecting exactly with the plane of our galaxy. So our Earth is aligned with both planes at the same time. So in meditation, it gets really much easier to go and make a journey between the two realms. So we will go in that during the sharing, and we will do the collective meditation so that you guys feel these new portals that are opening. But before we start, as usual, we want to hear from you guys, because we just love hearing your voices and your stories. They're so beautiful. Guidance is always through your stories, even if we don't expect. The beautiful guidance always comes through you guys. So maybe Evia has a few words to say as introduction, and then we ask people, our beautiful guys, to share something with us.
Yeah, the question would be how are you feeling this approaching full moon and equinox, because things start happening way before, like at least week before, and now we're just 3 days from that moment. So what's up in your lives? How about the balance? Where are you? What are the topics, the hot topics? And what are the questions?
Yeah, especially about the balance, guys, because we are entering in the sign of Libra. We are turning from, for the North Hemisphere, light, yeah, the realm of a day, into night, which is the realm of the dark. So this balance is shifting right now. We are going through the 0 point right at the day of the equinox. So how are you guys feeling it in your lives? What are some of the insights that you have at this moment? Because the energy is already here, and then we will share ours. So have you felt something in your field already as this shift is opening? As we are entering on that highway that we align with galactic center. Yes, Sylvia.
Hugo. Thank you. Hi, everybody. It's nice to see you guys. And I'm going to move out. And I'm going to move out of Penestanan after like a 10 years journey here, on and off. But Penestanan has been literally Bali for me. And anyway, it all happened very magically and it did much ease. And I'm really excited and in the same time very moved. So that's one thing. And the other thing is that I'm going to do some community work on Saturdays as of 2nd of October. I want to tell you what we were talking about so many, because it happened. We agreed yesterday. I wanted to say what we were talking about so many things. And so I'm going to offer tarot card reading or healing in the restaurant called The Elephant. Oh. And it's going to be for donation, and the money is going to go for medicine and whatever for the stuff they need, because the restaurant is at the verge of closing. And anyway, that also came very spontaneously. I didn't even know the owners, nothing, but they happened to be there and they happened to approach us, and yeah, one conversation followed the next one, and so I'll be there, and I'm really, really excited. And yeah, so for me, it's like new beginnings and lots of ease and lightness and following what feels good. Thank you.
Wow, big news. Thank you. Thank you. Moving out of Penestanan, it's been years. Amazing. Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, Sylvia. Miriam has a hand up. Miriam, did you want to share with us?
Yes, that would be fun. Hi, everyone.
We would love to see your beautiful face, if possible.
Not right now.
No? Okay, we will be happy with your beautiful voice then.
It's now the formless that you might enjoy.
Okay, etheric Miriam. Okay, go ahead.
What I really feel that is great at this time is that the divine timing is amplified for me. And I'm at home at the moment because I'm recovering from bursitis or bursitis. I don't know how you say that in English, but it's an injury on the shoulder. And I am currently doing a 30-day meditation course which has very beautiful and profound explanations about how to dive deeper, and how to really connect and rest in awareness, which is beautiful. And yeah, I just feel very grateful that I can have that divine timing to enjoy it right now and feel the beautiful inspiration to do things that I feel I need to do, but just in a flow state. And I wrote a song yesterday, a new song. I'm very happy about that as well. And I will dive even deeper next week into a 2-day workshop. And I'm really excited about that, that it's all happening at this time, because that was your question, Ilya. Was it like what is right now when the full moon is coming and what is hot right now? Well, that's hot.
Yeah, wow, beautiful. Thank you, Miriam. We hope to hear that song soon, because I love when you release your songs.
Yeah, and really, well, being in a meditation program, this is what the equinox is about. It's about learning to find that point in the middle. We'll speak deeper about meditation, but just to say that this is really the right activity that you picked for this period of time. So enjoy.
Yeah, we will add with our meditation today, we will add some material for your course where you could go with it. Fabiana.
Good morning, everyone. Yeah, well, looking forward to the balance, honestly, because it's been so dark here lately. Wow, I think I hadn't lived a winter in a few years. I, realized this a few days back. And I'm like, I guess that's why it's so intense. I've usually in August, I always go back to Italy, exactly to avoid winter, right? And this year I was like, no, I'll stay in Brazil. So I actually lived a winter. And not only that, but then I was like, oh, and I'm going to work on shadows just because, I feel like it. So I've been just like deeply, consciously, intentionally working on shadows during the winter. And then, during these times, I was like, oh my God, okay, I am so, and then just to end that up, like a couple of weeks ago, I went into a plant medicine ritual and all of these shadows and demons was just like present, right? And so I've been processing all of that for the past 2 weeks. And now I'm like, I desperately need spring. Like I need light to come. So next week I am going actually on a pilgrimage. It's called Caminho da Luz. It's like the light path. And I'm just, yeah, let's see what happens. I really hope that this balance happens and this light comes in to, yeah, be at the same level with dark. That's me now.
Thank you, Fabiana. This is amazing insights. Amazing insights. We will definitely talk about light and dark and these balances, how they go and beautifully play with each other. And yeah, you were actually in Brazil. Now in Brazil, you have the spring coming. So you guys are getting into light. So beautiful actually to have that reflection. Yeah, thank you. Anna's hand up and then after Vanita.
Hello, everyone. So for me, I wanted to share a dream I had because you were there, Vittorio and Nevia, and it was such a beautiful dream in a way. So in Switzerland now, I mean, I am not really looking forward that much to winter because they are already kind of like putting more and more restrictions already now, meaning myself with my decisions, I am no longer able to go to restaurants and to my sport events. So I kind of have a feeling it might even get worse, right? But about the dream, because the dream was so beautiful, I was in a space where there were like many groups of people and I was trying to join the groups, but they were kind of like making these circles where they made it impossible for me to join. And I was kind of like moving from one group to the other. And then finally I arrived at this very long table, like full of, like the most delicious food and drinks. And then I saw you sitting there at the table, And then Evia, you brought me a drink, and basically it ended like me totally happy, like, whoa, you know, I found my tribe. And we were like kind of like cheers, you know. So that was such a beautiful kind of like reminder, you know, of what's important, and that the right tribes are there, you know, and are there for me. And then what's now very present is that my partner is moving from US to Switzerland, so we are moving in together. So he's coming on Monday, and then we are going to Colombia beginning of October for the studies for 2 weeks. So our first retreat from the psychedelic therapy studies. Excited about it, but also kind of like, yeah, you know, openness, but with kind of like, let's see what it is, because I have the impression that even though I love the studies, I have the impression it's like still very strongly embedded into the system, which is more and more distinctively not the system I want to be part of. I want to be part of creating the new earth, and base my life and my work on new values, right? So but yeah, but it's exciting in a way, and a lot of question marks. Yeah.
Thank you.
What a time to move in together. I mean, it's extremely timely. Yeah, the moment is very specific.
Yeah, definitely very specific moment, coming into the double sign of Libra, which is all about partnerships and all about reflections of each other. Amazing. Yeah, and thank you for reminding us about the new earth, a new consciousness, and the right tribe, because that's what we are, you know, for some time working on forming. Thank you. Beautiful sharing. Who would like to go next?
There was Vanita, and then Miriam.
Vanita was next. Yes, Vanita, please go ahead.
Hi, I was just going to say that, yeah, the past few days has been a little bit, it's strange. I think it's also the full moon. It's like always, I notice that the full moon and the new moon, I think a week before that, I have, as you said, you know, I usually kind of have this strange, not my usual self kind of thing, you know, it's like more of a downward spiral kind of thing. And it takes more effort than usual. Usually I don't really make any effort to be in a fairly good space. But what has come up recently is also that I noticed that, you know, after last week I had a yoga class. I teach yoga. So, and I remember my body, I don't know what part of what happened, but I suddenly had like restriction in the chest area and around the whole, that part, abdominal, and not really abdominal, a bit higher. And then I was wondering, maybe I did something, you know, and then I realized that I actually I had to say no to a project that of work, you know, it's like a presentation thing. And I've been doing a lot of this free stuff that I've been like kind of doing, and then it just went off, and I'm like, wow, okay, that's quite cool. So, and also what I've been focusing more on is also on the body, and because of course I come from a dance background, and you know, now into more yoga and my drama therapy and stuff. So now what I'm thinking is what I came across yesterday and today was a little bit interesting about using, because, you know, I think the emotions, for me, like not taking care of the emotions or whatever level kind of affects the body and the mind. So now I want to go more into that. So I kind of came across something on YouTube, and I'm thinking maybe that's the next step, because what I also realized after like speaking with a friend, you know, sometimes I need to just kind of not just write on my journal. Sometimes it's good for me to kind of just have someone to listen to what I And then I'm talking myself into understanding what's going on with my body, you know, that kind of thing. And it's like, and I realized that that I'm not really that interested in doing therapy anymore, like in the drama therapy part of it, like seeing clients one-to-one. I don't mind doing the group sessions and more on the personal development part of it now, and workshops, of course. And you know, focusing on that and letting go of the one-to-one therapy kind of thing, that came in, and focusing more on yoga and those kind of stuff. So, and I'm just also curious about this new thing that I found. It's called the emotional code, and it's not new. It's just that I just found it, and the body code or something like that. I'm just kind of doing a little bit more research on that, because that's kind of drawing me in. And also there's another thing which is quite interesting for me, is that it feels that it's time for me to move. And I'm just like, oh, I like this place so much. It's like a little paradise away from where I was earlier. Like, you know, the beginning of the year, I moved here. And I'm like, okay. So that's a bit of a resistance there. So these are some of the things which is going on right now for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Vanita.
Thank you. So moving places, moving activities, moving interests, moving in, moving out, moving together. I hear lots of movings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and going from individual sessions to the group session, I'm actually making a note, putting it out there as well, because this also is a beautiful sharing. It's going to be part of what we cover today.
Mm-hmm.
I read here from Lisa. Lisa, you would like to share, right? Before you want to type it before your dog ripped your keyboard.
Yeah, I might end up screaming in the middle of this. This is the dog. See, here's Piggy, and dog is going round, going, oh, she's got like a fluffy pig in her mouth. She's just going ballistic. She's very smart and she's really stupid at the same time. So this week, my patience has been worn very, very thin. And normally I would be extremely patient with this psychotic dog. This is her here. Hey,
You lost your usual calm.
But it's been windy and it's been cold, and I think sitting in the other hemisphere to the European autumn that is slowly winding its way down, there's been growth here with planting of seeds, and just this beautiful metaphor that came today with these grass seeds that I've planted and have just tried watering. It's a big property, and so I will water 3 hours a day by hand to try to encourage these seeds. Please, please, please just get enough water to just allow the godliness that is inherent in everything can't burst forth without the encouragement of these other elements. And this is what I'm seeing metaphorically for me as a woman as well. And these seeds in the last couple of days have finally sprouted through. There's a few thousand little strings of grass that are out in places where I didn't imagine that they would have grown. But yeah, it's been a week of real this impatience, where I've believed that I'm feeling really patient and really chilled and everything's going awesome. I go into town and everyone's faces are covered and I'm kicking goals, and then just these tiny things happen and I lose my shit really easily. So I think I've maybe have said this with this group before, that I have this false sense that I'm all cool, calm and collected, and you know, as soon as the dog rolls in shit and comes and rubs herself all over the gorgeous carpets, I just lose my shit. So that's been my spring week in New Zealand.
Thank you, Lisa. First of all, it's really cool to see you in an apartment. As opposed to the vehicle.
It's actually it's a beautiful, very old farmhouse. And I stayed here several months ago. So my movement, I've actually, because the farmer and his wife are away for 4 days. So I've moved from sitting in my bedroom at nighttime to sitting in the other part of the house. So big moves this week for me.
So you also moved rooms. Yeah. Sure, thank you. Yeah, well, thank you for highlighting, and thank you for your always present honesty and lucid self-assessment. Yeah, that's what we do often, that we say we have this illusion of who we are until an event challenges. And then we see really, okay, maybe not quite there yet. And this is what this moment is about. So because we were talking about the balance and the equilibrium, all the areas that are out of balance in whichever ways will be shown, because that's the whole point. How would we know if nothing points it out? How would we know where we are still behind behind our schedule? So beautiful.
Yeah, this is
observance and notice.
Yeah. So this is one of the signatures of this time right now. It's the time of the Libra. And as we said, the Libra is the only astrological sign that doesn't have a being assigned to it. So it means that it must have, it's not an animal, it's not a human, it's not an angel, it's a thing. Libra, it's like the balance. So it means that it has some special significance if it is singled out like that out of the rest of the signs. And of course it does. It is like incarnation of number 2. An opposite is Aries, the beginning of the spring in the northern hemisphere, which is number 1. Yeah, so number 1 is all about me, all about our identity. And then number 2 is really super mystical number. In tarot, it is the number of High Priestess, and it reminds us of creation. So before, when there was only one, there was like the essence of the divine, essence of God. Everything was contained in that one. And when we talk about numbers, it's really crucial, and probably this is a beautiful time for that. It's crucial to decouple our understanding of numbers from pure mathematics. Mathematics is giving a layer to the meaning of the numbers that is useful but superficial. So 1 + 1 doesn't equal 2 in the spiritual science. Rather, 1 was the whole. It was everything. Everything was completely, perfectly balanced, and everything was contained. So in order that any creation happens, 1 divides in 2 opposites, in 2 polarities. Male, female, light, dark, good, evil, whatever you can come up and think as opposites. This is what happens when the 2 separate. 1 separates in 2. Why? So that it can create together. And when we think about Libra, it is 2 parts of the balance, but that balance is not static. And this is super important to understand, that once that 1 separated in 2, it started moving, and it's constantly in the movement. It goes up and down, just like you guys are feeling it and experiencing. And it's normal, and it's made that way in order that creation can happen. It's in constant movement. So we witness it, for example, when we walk. First, left foot, right foot, left foot, right foot. This is a creation of our walking. Similarly, with what we call male and female, the 2 polarities that create something, the male, the female, well, we can say like this: the cosmic male principle is the cosmic, there is a soul and a spirit. So cosmic spirit is a male principle. Cosmic soul is a female principle. And for them to create together, the soul is fertilized by the spirit, and they're equally needing each other. And then the only way that they can work together is that from that one, they were separated in two. So we can always think, when we think about Libra, when we think about this period, we got two out of one, and we are put in a slope. And now we're all, and those cyclical movements are happening. So important to know that if we are in a down period, well, the beautiful up period is coming. If we are in an up period, to be aware that the trials will come to get us to the higher level of consciousness, and to enjoy the process as much as we can, because it's not like we are doomed now, we are in dark. No, we are actually gathering material for our next level of consciousness. And, you know, we can be grateful and enjoy the process.
Yeah, you can see all the creation myths actually describe very well this separation from one into two. So in Bible, it's the woman that has been created out of rib of Adam. Otherwise, you know, he can't do much by himself. And then she started as a good woman, you know, she started putting some action, and a lot of things happened, and we're here because of them. Same for, and in Bible, well, Eve has been depicted as the one who initiates the troublesome ideas and brings this spark and light and dynamics, which Adam wouldn't have by himself. And in Hindu tradition, Shiva was the one who was just quietly being omnipresent, and nothing was happening. And then Shakti came along and started kind of igniting him into action. And so Shiva started creating the creation, basically. So there's always this female principle that is bringing the male principle into action. And those are external, for example, parameters, but the same thing is happening within us. When we feel like doing something, who feels our female principle inside feels like wanting something. The female principle always wants, always needs something more. It's the nature of the woman is to seek the change, to seek the next thing, you know, while male principle could, you know, be more static and more content with what is. The female principle is igniting the change. So when we think about ourselves, why do we move places? You know, someone said, I was very good in my cocoon, Avanita, I was very good, but it's time to move, because there's this restlessness. There has to be movement in every way, even if it's from one room to the next or from one house to the other. The female principle ignites the change, and the male principle acts upon it. And if we respect that this is the nature of life and this is how it goes, then these changes don't have to be dramatic. They just happen in the right time. They happen when the energy is right for them. If we resist the nudge of inner feminine principle that say it's time to change something, it's time to upgrade, it's time to move, when we resist that idea, then the change will happen anyways, but with some more or less big kick, or, you know, in some less harmonious ways. So what Libra is teaching us is keeping this male and female principle within ourselves in a perfect balance, and always listening to both sides of the story, not ignoring one or the other. However our natural constitution is, we both have the both sides, and we both have to listen to them very carefully. And the good way where we can hear it, because we're so like this male and female inner principle and outer principle is so much going on every second of our lives that we just don't have time to understand who is speaking, what is happening. And that's why there's one place that we can see it all from above, which is like put the life on pause, dive in and observe from the place of 0 point, which is not affected by this constant pedaling. Yeah. And Vittorio will tell more about that.
Yeah, it's important to understand that we say male and female, but these are, we have all, regardless whether we are men or a woman, we have both sides. And somebody has mentioned in your sharing that you want to concentrate more on the emotions and how the emotional sphere is affecting your life. When we are connected to the divine realm, we're connected to the divine spirit and divine soul. And then when we materialize, when we come in the material world, we are detached from those divine principles. We are still connected to them through our soul and our spirit. And one of it is the emotional realm. This is the reflection of our soul. And the other one is wisdom realm. Wisdom realm is the connection to our spirit. So wisdom and love and wisdom, always these two are the inner play of the inner masculine and inner feminine, and we all have them. And we need to be aware of how they are being these two sides of the balance, and how one is influencing the other, and how they are actually mutually creating the movement. So this is one aspect of this period here.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there will be another aspect of that, but I want to see what I had still to add to this before I get to the other one. The other one is cosmic, and how we are actually getting from our local cosmic neighborhood to our wider cosmic neighborhood. This is a big shift that we are now experiencing through the consciousness of humanity. So did you have anything else to add in this part?
Yeah, so what Libra period is actually teaching us, it's, we could think about it at any point of the year. Yeah, it's not impossible. But these energies now are polarizing the picture that we see outside in the outside world on purpose in some super exaggerated ways. When you just hear the news, even from remote sources, it's it's very puzzling. How even is this possible? But the purpose why now is because we have to really understand that those two principles coexist: the good and the bad, the right and the wrong, the light and the dark. So in the Libra moment, light and dark are in equal proportions. What we see in the world might seem that, one side is taking so much over, but it's only to invite us to really stay on the witness perch. I really like the idea that, you're standing on the stick and just observing, okay, this time, like football game. Okay, these guys are having the ball, so they're having fun with it. And then it will go back. Like everything in life, like breath in, breath out, tide in, tide out, everything is going back and forth, and nothing will stay forever in one position. So in a way, this is the moment to really understand that if we perceive, because everything is just a perception, if we perceive there's a lot of darkness or a lot of fighting in the world, you can know that for as much of darkness that is surfacing, the equal amount of light is waiting to take over. And it's not only about what's happening this month or this year, but also what's happening since the big cycles on the planet. So when we spoke about the dark ages and how long that was lasting, the same thing, it can never stay there forever in just one side of the balance. That means the other side is getting ready. And there's some kind of peacefulness in the thought that everything will shift to its opposite. So there's nothing much to do except really cultivating the space of neutrality. So when it gets too much, when, as Fabiana said, oh la la, like give me a break, you know, when it gets too much, there is always a little door where we can stop the game, open it, go within, and find the balance in the meditation. And that's why that meditation retreat that, you know, Miriam, you mentioned, it's the right moment, because if we pay attention to the purpose of meditation, and if we make it even more conscious, we really understand that this is the place from where we can stop any duality, any swings, and just calm down before we get back in the game.
Yeah, purpose of meditation is actually to understand, to go inside, inwards. And this is exactly what we're going to do at this session as well. Go inwards and understand that we are the whole universe ourselves. So everything that is happening outside of us that we can see, that and everything else is happening on the inside. And we can reach those realms through meditation deeper and deeper as more and more that we are able to concentrate. And when we talk about these polarities and what we perceive as good and evil, by the way, in the Bible, Adam and Eve, and by Adam and Eve not being man Adam and man Eve, these are all archetypes of, you know, male and female archetype. So they were kicked out of proverbial paradise by eating from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. What does it mean? It means that they have put it onto their human selves, the arrogance to understand and judge what is good and evil. And this is exactly what we are not able to do from just the 3D perspective. What we think is evil is just a tool for the higher realms of consciousness to actually graduate us to the next level. So evil is necessary in order that good can exist, and vice versa. And until we actually see that this is all necessary and part of the same game as light and dark, same game as male and female, we are going to be too much into the judgment about things and unable to really detach and look at things, you know, with spiritual detachment. And that is what we are meditating for, so that we can see that all universe is in us. We can detach from that and understand that, okay, well, this humanity has been giving clues what needs to be done in order for us to kind of get into the more harmonious living together. And of course, this is the age of Aquarius. We are getting from age of Pisces into age of Aquarius. Age of Aquarius means acting as one, collectively acting as one, out of the multiplicity of the beautiful individual identities that we have, acting in harmony as one. So it has always been the case that between the large shifts of eras, and they happen every 2,600 years, between the two shifts of two eras, there are consciousnesses that are overlapping. So there's Piscean consciousness that was, you know, like Christ and Christian and being, you know, like sacrificing oneself for others and all those notions. That was the prevailing culture for 2,600 years on European continent, and then equivalent of that on the other parts of the earth and humanity. And now we are getting into the Aquarius part, where we need to learn how to operate as this new community that we are mentioning. Who is our community now? Who is our community who is making the living environment how we want it to be, where we completely fully understand and co-create together, and come from this love of the collective rather than like hoarding things individually like we did before. Anyway, so this is what's happening on the larger part of consciousness of humanity. In order to flow through this period of change, we really need to meditate and come in and look from that 0 point where we are not emotionally attached to any of the outcomes, but we kind of look at it almost like a theater play and we swim with it.
Mm-hmm. And this is a time to contemplate the opposites and really understand for each of us how are we maintaining the idea of the opposites. Because it's very interesting. We, together with Zane, we suddenly read the Bible, the full Genesis, and it's very, very interesting. If you read in detail, so many things are hidden in plain sight, and that how it's depicted in Bible. Let's say the light and dark and the day and night have been created. It's inbuilt. But actually what makes our emotions swing is our perception and our preference of, which one we would like. So when you contemplate, for example, is hate opposite of love? Is it really? So, because they are both very strong emotions, and how in couples, sometimes a big love can in a second turn into big hate. So if you try to dwell in how is the love the same thing, the same emotion as the hate, it's only our opinion about what has happened that turns this flow of emotion from pleasant into unpleasant. And when we dwell on each of the opposites that we maintain, there's literally not such thing that exists as hate. It's just a strong emotion with a strong judgment. But is it a thing? Is it really, does it exist outside of the one who holds it? You can't find it. It's a frequency, because we put our idea of what we don't like on the flow, which to begin with was love. So these meditative moments are actually very good to examine all the opposites that we hold in our consciousness, all the opinions about what we think things are. Because things were created neutral. Things were created opposite for the pure sake of experimenting with life. So how we define them defines also the frequency in which we inhabit. So now the current polarization is actually really pushing people into these emotional extremes, but we don't have to swing with it. We can always find where's our, let's say, neutral spot and let it go through.
Yeah, history has been known to bring the periods that are very trying for humanity, which, when we didn't understand the original message, well, we needed to go through a little bit rougher message in order to actually be forced into raising the consciousness, because otherwise too many people would just lazily lounge along and do nothing. So this is exactly what happened. We have lounged as a humanity long enough to almost destroy the living conditions that are supporting, humans on Earth. So now we really kind of need to go quickly to the next level where we are able to live more holistically and more in the balance with nature. Nature, of course, doesn't care. It couldn't care less if we exist or not. All that we are actually influencing is conditions that are favorable for human life. So if we destroy that, well, the species will not be able to go on. Earth doesn't care. It's going to go on like it always did. So this is one side of what's coming up with this Libra period. The other one that we feel very strongly is the need to expand our consciousness much, much, much farther. And what this entails, you know, the traditional astrology dealt with the 7 planets and just with solar system. And where we need to go now, if we want to expand our cosmic consciousness, is beyond the solar system. And you know from our sharings and your own work from before that the solar system is extension of our body. So these are our cosmic chakras that we feel and interact with the universe through. All of those planets in the solar system are the chakras and points of consciousness. Well, we have worked with those 7 planets long enough that we are now able to go further and explore at least towards our galaxy, and at best even further along towards the local clusters and clusters of galaxies, and towards the known limits of the universe that we have observed so far. Why is this important? Well, you know, when we could see only to the first planets, well, this is what we were able to work with. Now that we had the technology to see much, much further into space, it is becoming part of collective consciousness. And if we could see it through Hubble telescope, for example, and such, then we can also meditate with it. And in our inner world, go and travel to those galaxies and see what happens there, what conscious levels of consciousness that we experience there, how that works out in our life. Yeah. So what I wanted to show you is what happens at this moment of equinox. What happens is that the plane of our solar system intersects with the plane of the galaxy. So if we look at this map here, this is our ecliptic that we see. This is the sky that we see from our from Earth. Yeah. So this is the ecliptic. All of the planets are coming here. So you see, this is Sagittarius, this is Scorpio, this is Libra, and so forth. And this part here is the plane of our galaxy. The galactic center happens to be right here. The Archer or the Sagittarius is pointing its arrow towards the galactic center. So this is how we are always aligned one with another. The angle between the two is about 26 degrees. And now as the Earth is coming from being below the sun, so to speak, to above the sun, we will really pass through this point that we call the point of avatar. And from this point, we can actually go on into the plane of the galaxy and travel to the galactic center and explore. In a galactic center, we can explore what is the consciousness that we find there. How do we interact with the galactic center? What is it? What does it mean to actually embody the consciousness of the center of our galaxy? So this is going much, much, much farther than the solar system. And I will play you a little animation that shows our galaxy, what it looks like when we go and rotate around it and we see even more than just our galaxy. So our galaxy is at the very center here. I hope you can see that. Let me know if you can or not. And what we are seeing, so our galaxy is this little thing at the very center. We are rotating around it. And what we see behind are clusters and mega clusters of other galaxies. So this is even farther from our galaxy. So if we can tune into what consciousness is are present in these other parts of our universe, we can connect to the consciousnesses that are shaping these things as well. So imagine what an amazing excursion this is from our usual little solar system that is in one arm of the galaxy here in the center, going all the way so far out as these super clusters of galaxies, and in meditation connected to them. So this is exactly what we are going to be exploring.
Mm-hmm. And what it means very practically for us is that now that we have understood, that life is perpetual swing between the opposites and it's unstoppable because this is how life works. And that the only point that is not swaying is the 0 point, which is of course in our hearts. And that there is also that point that aligns to these greater celestial principles. Then you can understand that meditation, which is your own center of the galaxy, joining in an auspicious moment where the whole earth aligns to its center, it's like you're meditating together with the earth, with the source of all creation. So that's why these moments are so auspicious. They're also cosmic appointments. We already said that there's no time outside of the earth, but still beings from any galaxy can give appointments on these nodes of equinoxes and solstices. So this is where like huge, any kind of intergalactic magical operations can happen, because that's the rendezvous of all celestial beings that is very common. So these portals come, well, let's say there are 8 points like this per year. And if we're mindful enough and we understand the scope and we understand what is the scope of possibilities that opens to us on this day, we can fully use it. We can also just skip through it and do nothing about it and take the next chance if our awareness is great enough. But the interesting thing, I'm still coming back with the Bible because I had a lot of fun really reading it from absolutely non-religious perspective, but just a person with awareness and what is said there. That the Eden, it's very specific, very precisely written that in the Eden, God created Adam, and then he created Eve to keep him company. And they were given plants as food, and also they were given animals, and animals also were eating only plants. Yeah, so complete vegans in paradise. And then when they took the fruit of knowledge from the tree of good and evil, they suddenly realized that they were naked. They were naked, but it said they were naked. But then when they were expelled from the Garden of Eden, it said very specifically that God gave them skin as to wear. Yeah, which means what? Which means that wherever Eden was, it was not on this earthly plane because they didn't need skin. They were non-material beings. That means it's another dimension. And by receiving a skin, they were able to live on material plane, and they had to start inhabiting the earth and start cultivating and getting things in a difficult way. So the interesting point is that from all abundance, and they didn't have to dig the soil to plant in Eden because the food was just there and growing and provided. 2, I have to do it all myself and with hard labor and sweat and determination. So, but the interesting part is when it says how they were kicked out of Eden and how the gate of Eden was closed, the God put a flaming sword at the east of Eden that's kind of spinning around. So what can you imagine that is on the east? That's a flaming, if you turn like a stick, flaming stick very, very fast, what would you see? And that's in the east. Yeah. So obviously it really feels like it's the sun. that means that that gate from where those immaterial 5D beings, having received the skin, were propelled on Earth was through the sun. So that means the way back is also through the sun. So when we have these elements and we ponder a little bit, and the signs are all over the place, we can understand that the sun is really our gateway to knowledge, and also to remembrance of the original divine human blueprint, which was before this one, where we actually have to do everything the hard way. So these are our opportunities when the sun alignments happen very specifically with the earth and with the great central sun and the center of the universe, that through these portals we can access our highest capacities, and remembrance of how it could be if we want to transcend our human condition. You can read it. It's completely fascinating, including how people lived till 900 years and everything. So
yeah.
And one interesting thing also that came from that lecture is that before Adam and Eve were expelled from Eden, there was God conversing with them, like a one thing conversing with them. But then when they were already kind of on the earth, there is something that says now they are like us. They know the good and evil. So I'm still wondering, what are those us? Which means that it's not the same principle that governs things on earth than on those higher planes of existence. Just saying.
Yeah, that us is the level of consciousness. And the level of consciousness where we are able to act, whether we are 3D beings, 4D, or 5 or 6D, or so forth. And when we say 5 and 6D beings, this is the level of consciousness where we can consciously go in and out of form. We need but don't have to use the body. We can have only an energetic orb and travel through levels of existence by zooming in and out and so forth. So when they are saying that now we know good and evil, they probably mean, we have reached the level of consciousness where we are detached from those concepts and understand what they are here for. And it's interesting that the portal out of this world goes through the sun. And this is exactly how we're going to do it in the meditation. We will go through the sun and So Avi, you can go on with anything else that you have before we go into the meditation itself.
Yeah, so when we contemplate also this particular equinox that's coming up, so what we spoke till now is the universal principle of any kind of equinox and what's the opportunity behind. But we also have hours before the actual moment of equinox, we have a very powerful full moon in Pisces. Full moon in Pisces, we would say it's, cool. It's very mystical, very mysterious. So it's a cool full moon to download really information and things. But it's also a full moon of illusions because of other planets that are coming together in the cluster. So this full moon, when we're looking for the balance, is extremely destabilizing, because from one side we have the equinox energies kind of providing us the possibility to kind of find the 0 point, find the stillness, decide what to do. But at the same time, the full moon can be a huge obstacle to that or huge help. So with this full moon that's happening in Pisces, and it's, you know, also conjunct with a planet that's called Pallas Athena, which is the strategist, which is really creating a specific pathways, like, you know, war kind of strategy, very precise plan for the future, how to win, you know, or how to get where you want to get. And together with this Neptune energy and the possibility to tune in, it could be, if you really focus in the right way, it could be that you can download the perfect next kind of plan for your life. If you're very careful, very discerning, and perfectly neutral and staying in your heart. Or it could be that the Piscean kind of escapism or delusional side completely throws you out of any reality and creates a non-functional, completely unrealistic, utopic plan for the next phase of your life. So that's why I'm just bringing attention that the insights that come, you have to check and double check and really tune only through the heart and through the sun and through everything that you know that you can trust within your system, because it could be either super genius and really pave your path forward, or it could be completely delusional and lead you sideways and exactly nowhere. So that's the extra kind of energy to it. Besides, also it's this the moment of beginning and the end, alpha and omega. So we can really completely finish some cycles and completely open new cycles. So all of this is happening right now in this period, and it's up to us how we enter it and how aware and precise and neutral we stay in this period. Otherwise, what will happen, you'll see the areas of where these adjustments are needed. We'll just highlight, and you can work specifically on what's immediately visible for you.
Yeah, this is a great point that you mentioned, adjustment, because these are some tarot cards that are associated with this period now of Libra. One of them is called in some decks Justice, in another Adjustment, but they are all depicting the scales and from alpha to omega. So when we say adjustment or justice, it goes to say that we are making fine adjustments and going through the 0 point, swinging in one side and then swinging into the other side until we reach the actual balance. And the moment that we actually reach the balance, at that point, the two polarities can merge together and we go back into oneness from which we started and are ready for the next level. So usually this is so interesting that this card in some of the tarot decks is assigned to the number 11, in another to the number 8. But both of those numbers are very much about Libra and about balance, because 8, we know that the number of the 8 is almost like infinity sign that depicts how these polarities are actually interchanging while they are swinging. And then number 11 is 1 and 1, 1 and 1. It's a really perfect balance between two columns. It's even at the major arcana number 2, which is a high priestess that is sitting in front of the two pillars, that one represent male and another the female side. The other card that is number 8 in other tarot decks is the one of the strength. And that strength is kind of radiating this inner strength. Usually the picture is the woman she has the infinity sign on top of her head, and she tames the lion just by the power of her inner strength. the lion is obeying her because she acts from that higher level of consciousness. So adjustment versus strength, all of those things. So we are making final adjustments to go up in our strength and go up in our journey. So this is how beautifully tarot is tying up into this and illustrating what we are going through.
Mm-hmm. And another aspect of entering the Libra adjustments is relationships, because Libra is ruled by Venus, right? So
The
Libra,
original ruler is Venus.
exactly. So you see all these balances, beginnings, the ends, and everything in the middle. So all relationships will feel this kind of Libra equinox passing through in some ways. If the couple has done the work, continuously, and it's just confirming the harmony. If the work hasn't been done, then the couple will swing up and down until they match the balance, or it's also, these are the beginnings of the relationships and ends of relationships, or anywhere in between the balance, but it cannot stay like that. Yeah, it's either beginning or the end or adjustment. So you can examine. So Anna is having a beginning, like alpha of a relationship cycle. I know some that have had some omega moments not long time ago, and so we always have to respect that there's also a cycle. For everything there's a cycle, and we need to know where in the cycle we are. And also the same relationship can have many cycles. It doesn't mean that relationship has to end, but there's a cycle of relationship that ends with the same person, and a new cycle can come. And all of these questions and adjustments are happening in these energies, where somehow our attention is brought to examine where do we stand in our relationships of any kinds, including with friends, including with family, business partners, anything. So once those questions are answered, then the clear path, remember Pallas Athena, the strategist, giving a helping hand. So from this new energy, new adjustment, immediate kind of concrete plans can result. Or if nothing is done, we can continue in illusion and things will fall apart later. And the relationship with ourselves, of course, like it doesn't have to be the other person. The other person is actually very helpful to show where in us that adjustment is needed, because most of the time we're so kind of confident, yeah, I've done the thing, I'm totally zen, peace and balance, and as Lisa would say, completely patient with everything and everyone. But the other person is steadily and lovingly holding the truth for us. Yeah. And there's no way around it, but it's so cool, because then we can enjoy the good parts, and every now and then a little mirror pops up and says, here and here and here. So when we accept with grace the fact that our lives will never be peaceful, like literally, guys, never. Like forget about it. If you are in peace, that means you are dead or something.
It's important to actually reflect on this. Yes, it's like, life of full of super ups and downs, issues, and while solving the dramatic issues, they have learned how the rules of the universe work. On the other hand, if somebody has a very balanced and zen life and never have any requirements to change in order to get to the at least somewhat a modicum of peaceful life, their lives has been mostly boring, uneventful and boring. So it's a signature of really a great upgrade is that inner always inner movement, inner movement. Sorry, Abby, go ahead.
Yeah, and when we see these ups and downs and just take them, of course we know it's unescapable and it's part of our lives. But when we stop trying to get our life flat, you know, and we accept that it's gonna be like this, we can actually completely embrace the moments of when we have to do the thing. And the more aware we are, the more fun those moments can be, because they don't have to be dramatic anymore. So, you know, we're ready for it. We recognize, we give ourselves a little laugh, you know, yeah, I'm again or still there and still learning, and just, you know, continue and do it with grace. So we can't avoid ups and downs, but we can make it harmonious, and that's for sure. And another feature of Venus for this period is harmony. Like, how can we bring harmony? If not perfection, that would be Virgo, we can bring harmony. So how can we harmonize our body? How can we harmonize what we do? How can we harmonize the food we eat? How can we bring more beauty and more of awareness? How can we do things with more love? And the big question is, again, how much love we put in everything we do.
How much love and how much wisdom, yeah? Love and wisdom, this is what's on the scales.
Yeah, well, the Trinity actually is wisdom, power, and love. So we put the power a little bit for the sake of discussion on the side, but it's actually wisdom, power, and love. That's the Trinity that rules the perfect way of being a human. But when you examine the love aspect and you think, how much love do you put in everything you do? Like, what is the reason why you do things? And if you realize that it's not that much of what exactly you do or how much you do, but how much love do you put in what you do? And that is actually the vibration that attracts harmony, that attracts, you know, the right amount of money, of opportunities, of friends, connections. Even the slightest thing on how you prepare your food, or how you walk on the street, how you interact with people, how much love you put in those little daily events will determine on how harmoniously the life will respond you back. So this is also the open invitation on pondering, is love just an abstract term, or do we know that we have to do things with love, or we actually know? Like, do we know it from an embodied perspective that, you know, when you will be gone, if you die tomorrow, the only thing that will live and outlive you will be how much love you put in other people's hearts. How much love did you put in what you created? How much love did you put in anything that you have written? And how much love have you put in complete strangers, you know? So that is the only thing that will outlive you. And that's the only thing that they will ask you at the gate of the paradise, how much you lived and how much you laughed, in a way. So it's really an invitation to dwell in the question until you understand that, well, I had this deep realization yesterday in taking care of my tomatoes, because, you know, I have a mission kind of, I want to grow my tomatoes, and I've been sitting on them every single day, you know, against all odds, dogs, snails, hail, cold, illnesses, everything. I've put so much attention in those tomatoes. Then I'm just like ecstatically savoring, you know, the ripe tomato right from the garden. I said, you know, why do I put so much effort, you know? You know, it's not worth it. It's totally not worth it to put so much effort in a tomato. But this is actually how life goes. There's nothing more important than this. Like, giving, the plant gives back the love that you put in it. And if you think that when you lose everything, you can lose your money, you can be completely broke, you can lose your house, you can own totally nothing, and you can be nowhere, but you will never lose the capacity of giving love. That's the only thing that stays when everything else is gone. And when you think from this perspective that that's really the only thing that we possess in a way, and that we can give regardless of our condition or how much we have. We might be limited by how much we can give the physical things, but we are never limited to how much love can we give to a person, to a plant, to a concept, or just, to ourselves. So it's sometimes very useful to ponder, like, what is importance that we give to things. And maybe, that growing tomato is as important as building an empire, who knows? Because what stays basically is our capacity of giving and receiving love. That's the Libra message through Venus. So Lisa has a question about tomatoes, I think. No,
Yes.
I can tell you all about it.
When Vittorio say at the start with the words love and hate, how important those words are, and for me, how bastardized those words are. And I can remember asking you to pendulum the energy behind different words. And when you said just before with the tomatoes, that you said with the love that you put into the tomatoes, and then you use the word attention that you give to the tomatoes. And on the one level, merely giving something our undivided attention is giving love by merely noticing the tomato, but not over noticing it, having that vested interest in, oh my God, there's a snail. My poor tomato. But so my question is, a few days ago, I go out and I feed the lambs, and I have to feed the cows, and I take out a hot chocolate with me. And it was wanting to put the intention of love into my hot chocolate before I drank it. And I went into my thinking mind and was like, okay, so what am I going to do? Do I just say love? Do I think of a leaf? What do I think of? What am I actually? We have the word love. Then I have what I see as the Lisa of what love is. We've got, if we use that universal word love, and we know that we shouldn't use the word love anyway, we should use the Latvian word for love, but we've got the universal word for love. Those three are not necessarily the same thing. So my intention that I put in was I said the word love, and I just imagined a snowflake, a perfect snowflake. And I swear to God, the following 2 days, that hot chocolate, oh my God. Well, by the time I usually get it finished because I've got to feed the animals, it's a cool chocolate. It's no longer hot. I swear to God that just putting in the snowflake was all that was required, because Lisa, I'm not so sure that I use that word very flippantly. I'm not so sure that I have anchored into what actually is a really good embodiment of love, if that makes sense. So yeah, so if you can talk to the idea that it is important for us to be mindfully going into these places with the equilibrium, putting our love into the tomato, but it's like, well, I don't know. What should I put behind it? Is it something as simple as just going, okay, the picture of the snowflake, just picture a snowflake and put that into the chocolate?
Yes, Lisa, actually we have Thank you for this reminder. We have actually a very cool story from our lives that illustrates this perfectly. And this is when I really wanted to tell Evia that I loved her for the first time when we had just gotten together. I had the same dilemma as you. So when I said it, you know, I would really love to tell you that I love you, but I don't want to profane the moment by using the word love. So how do I do this?
That was the sweetest thing ever. You say, I want to tell you that I love you, but I don't know how. well,
I really didn't want
says,
to use that word.
yeah.
That's like loaded with so like superficial meanings. So your point is very, 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 very interesting.
Exactly, and here I have to repeat what Anna Kocheva said us, that you don't say love, you feel love. Yeah, you don't say it, and that was, Anna, your great revelation of these last times, that you don't say love. Yeah, the words really mean nothing. They merely, okay, they transmit a frequency, of course, which is a combination of what everybody means by this. Yeah, but you know what, you actually, Lisa, you were right. What actually goes into those tomatoes, yeah, is attention. Love is attention. It's deep attention to what you're doing. For example, I love everybody who comes in as guest here. The garden is not in great shape in any ways, but they say, it's like a paradise. What do they feel? They feel actually that the garden is cared for, that every plant has been receiving attention. You know, when you cut the plants, when you weed, and you know, when you harmonize the garden, what you do, you put attention. When you do it with your hands, because the hands are the ones that are connected to the heart, and whatever you touch with your hands and give total attention, that is love. You know, you can't, if you don't feel love, you can't pay attention, because it's not meaningful. It doesn't mean anything. Why do we focus on the person that we love and we give lots of attention? Because those two things go together. You will not care about something that you don't love. You will not touch it. Yeah. But eventually, what comes first? The feeling, and then we touch and pay attention? Or we can create attention and then the feeling comes? That's a question to ponder on. What comes first? And if we want to be a full spectrum human beings, we actually can generate love without that there's a reason for it. And as much as you wouldn't pass by your plant that's kind of dying from thirst, because you care, you put attention, you give your minute of your life to that plant. But more you do it in consciousness, more that love is expressed, because it's a service to something living without agenda. Well, for my tomatoes, I do have agenda, because I really want that fruit as well. But what that fruit gives me back from all the attention that I put in is just beyond, because the life responds to our love in so many incredible ways. It really gives it back. And not only from that one point where you infused love in your life, it can come out from any other point. So never underestimate the power of real power of love, and what it can do into people's lives, and how it actually stays. That's the only thing that stays behind you.
Yeah, in people and in everything else that we put it. And we have spoken so many times about how the words are misencoded with the collective understanding of something. So for the words, for the concepts that are really important for us, we might craft the special words and use those. But I think you've done great, Lisa, by imagining the snowflakes. This is such a good way to do it. This is like the love can equal also beauty. and it's natural beauty. Nature has not made ugly flowers, and it has never made an ugly snowflake. It's this amazing geometrical, it's a crystal that had grown out of water. We are bound to be, we are programmed to be amazed by the nature's beauty. So whether you imagine snowflake, or you imagine the perfect cucumber, or a perfect flower, or maybe that Nautilus shell that is of these beautiful colors, all of this is the divine perfection. And the divine perfection, you can infuse that into anything.
Mm-hmm.
Even if we imagine just a puppy.
Because on one level, it felt a little bit cheaty, because I wasn't going, okay, so feel some love and put some love in there. And it's like, oh, fuck, I'm sorry. Oh, wow, I'm not quite sure how to feel that. So I'm just going to like imagine a snowflake. And it's like, oh, wow, that's so simple. It really works. It's just there, right there. It's not, I mean, people can say it's bypassing, but it's not really bypassing. It's just seeing it for what it really is. So
yeah,
what I received back is, even though I've gone, oh, I don't know how to put love into my hot chocolate, I actually do know how to put love into the hot chocolate. All you've got to do is visualize it.
Exactly. So what you have actually bypassed is unnecessary questions of your mind. Do I know how to love? Do I know how to love? And what if I spiritually bypass? It's all little stories that just melted away the moment you imagine the snowflake. And you got the real direct connection with your love. And that's how you do it. You've done it perfectly, although the mind had many questions about it, which it will. So
Yeah.
very, very well done.
But really, this period is actually bringing attention to examine where do we stand, each one of us, with the love. Is it a concept? Do we know what it is? Is it a word? Or do you actually feel it, and how much you live it? And it's never too late to add some more of it, you know, all around you. And if it's just a little thing every day, but that's done with full attention and full care, especially for something that has no interest, you know, without personal agenda, it's muscling that heart muscle until you see it overwhelmingly coming back from your reality, and then you have no doubt about it, whether you know how to do it or not. And it becomes very simple. Yeah, and by the way, love is also training us to tune to that frequency of 0 point and Venus, and it's also way back to Garden of Eden. Yeah, so it's not just for a purpose of experiencing it here on Earth, but it's feeding it back to where we came from.
Yeah, literally, it is the most precious and strongest energy that we can make, and that's why, you know, all the attempts are being made that we don't feel much of it. You know, it's been bastardized, and we are bombarded by non-love that is presented as love, because we could very quickly overwhelm anything that is thrown our way if we would collectively feel love just for 10 seconds as the humanity. So yeah, it is super, super powerful. And actually, this is another use of those meditations. It is to go into the heart and really generate that flame of love and feeling it and warming ourselves and people around us with it.
Mm-hmm. So eventually, when we become our own fountain of love, and that's what the mysterious self-love is about. Self-love is not just caring about yourself, it's being the generator of love for yourself to the point that it overflows and you become a fountain of love for everything and everyone around you. So this is a moment to practice it, and you can practice it by starting wherever you can, yeah, by visualizing something unrelated or remote, and slowly getting closer to understanding how could this be true, that we're all beings of love, and this is the only power that we have, and the only power that remains when everything else is gone.
There is a shortcut towards actually igniting that self-love. We often forget how easy it could be. Feeling self-love is simply doing something that inspires you and doing something that makes you feel joyful, and acknowledging that, yes, this fills me with joy, this fills me with joy, and this is what inspires me, and I'm doing it, is respecting that inner knowing of what is right for you and what is your expression. And doing your expression, doing this, that is your original expression without doubting it, and sharing that with the world, well, this is actually loving everyone else around. Because imagine if they get this, what you most love doing. It gets back to being very simple before we make it overly complicated. Just doing what inspires you and what you love, and then sharing it with others. How simple is that?
So with this in mind, I guess it's time to do a little journey. And you can maybe explain where are we going to go?
Yeah. So what we wanted is to give you the clues that you will feel yourself in your body. So this is, I would like to guide you through the meditation to the edges of the known universe. And why is that? Is that at the edge of that known universe is the end of matter, non-matter, time, non-time. And from that edge, there is a portal where we can actually beam ourselves out of 3D existence and feel what is beyond that. And if we know that map, how to get there, then you can actually do it yourself and kind of keep experiencing what happens on which levels. So the way that we are going to do this is that we will first, I will explain it a little, then we will guide it. So first we will go into our heart, and from our heart we will connect to our planet. We all know our planet, at least the surface of it. And then through our planet, we will go to the center of the solar system, which is the sun, and we will dwell there a little bit. We will feel our sun. And then from our sun, because now it's aligned with the galaxy, we will go to the center of the galaxy, and we will feel, how do we feel in the center of the galaxy? And then if we look at the plane of our galaxy, if we are in the center of it, going down from it, we get to Andromeda galaxy. This is our neighbor galaxy down from us. So we will just go there and experience Andromeda. Then we will go up and we will experience the Virgo cluster, which is just above us. And from there, we will make a little detour and get towards what's called the shapely attractor. And this is where huge forces are actually beaming the energy. And this is the grandfather of all of the galaxies in our universe that we have kind of seen so far. Inside of that shapely attractor is what we call is a great spiritual sun. And this is the center of the center of the center. So this is the core of all materialized things in our dimension. From that point, we can choose to step out of the material and see what's beyond it for a moment, and then come back, retracing our steps. So these are all the words, but now when we actually do it, we will feel it in reality, we will feel it in our body. But what I want to do is I want to show you each of these steps so that you have, your mind has something to work with. So it's entertained. So you can actually have something in front of your eyes. So we started here, we started with our stars that we see from the Earth, and we will go into the galactic center from there. So we'll go first to the sun and then to the center of the galaxy that is here. And then we will go here, and this is this Laniakea cluster, which is the cluster of galaxies. Here, every dot represents one galaxy, not one star. And our Milky Way is right here on the little edge of it. And then from there, we go, so this is our Milky Way, one little dot here. We'll go down into the Andromeda galaxy and then up to the Virgo cluster. And from Virgo cluster, we go towards these that are called Abels. And here is the great attractor. And in this great attractor is the actual center of the centers. Everything has started there. This is what it looks like through Hubble telescope. The great attractor, it looks very much like cells. And here is what it looks like. This is the attractor and this is the repeller, and the energy is being beamed through it. Right in the center here is where the center of all galaxies are. And there we can step out of it and go into the non-material realm right from there. So this is just something for your mind to kind of look at as we go. And again, I played you this animation. This is what it looks like. Of course, solar system, our galaxy is much amplified here. It would be a tiny, tiny, tiny dot on the scale of this animation. But this is how we go and access these things. So I will guide you through this now that your mind has a little something to think about. And the point is to feel those places in your body and just kind of tune as I guide you, just kind of see how you're going to feel. We will go into those places in our inner world, and you can map them and try to remember what they feel like so that you can recreate this in your meditation on your own. And don't forget, we have the whole galaxy, and all this exists in our memory, in our Akashic memory. Our cells remember all this. When we go into deep states of meditation, we know that we have been there already. Only we have too much distractions from everyday words and concepts and, you know, whatever superficial issues come into our life that we don't often think about it. But you have cellular memory of what it feels like to be part of these levels. So through this meditation, we go back there and you just observe how you feel on those levels, and maybe even what kinds of intelligences you will feel surrounded by when we are there. So does it make sense so far? Are you ready for a little cosmic journey? Okay, so let's go. So we start by closing our eyes. Let's close our eyes. And take a deep breath in. And with the breath out, breathe out all of the ideas, concepts, everything that had happened today so far. We will do this 3 times. Take another deep breath. And deep breath out. We feel that we sit or stand deeper onto the surface that's holding us so far. One more deep breath in, and we sink even deeper in the seat where we are sitting. Try to completely relax. Observe your shoulders. Relax your shoulders. Feel your eyes. Push the eyes even more further towards the center of your skull. And sink even deeper in whatever area you're sitting in. Relax your heart. Relax the back of your head, back of your neck. Relax the sexual organs and anus. And sink completely deeply in. So we start by feeling a point of diamond, little diamond in the center of your head. Imagine the diamond in your pineal gland. And we take it down towards our heart. Just slowly, with one breath, we take it right into the heart. And from the center of the heart, we go down our spine and take this little diamond onto the surface of the earth. So feel the surface of the earth. You're connecting to the earth grid right now. So as you're connecting to the earth grid, with the next deep breath in, we raise our size so that we become as large as the country that we are in. Another breath in, and we are as large as a continent that we are in. And with the third breath, we are as large as Earth ourselves. Let's now overlap and sink in such a way that you are in the center of the Earth. You are the same size of the Earth, and it's completely encompassing you. So now the Earth is completely all around you, and you are one with it. And you have grown so big as to be on that level of size. So for 1 or 2 breaths, feel one with Earth itself, our mother, our nature, our caretaker. And with the next breath, we will go and connect. Center of the Earth is now in the center of our heart. We will just translate along the plane of solar system. And with the next breath out, we are aligned our heart with the sun itself. Breath in, breath out. And all of a sudden, our heart is aligned with the sun. With the next breath in and out, we grow at the size of the sun and feel that the sun is completely around you. So now you are encompassing the size of the sun. So feel this energy. You are in the center of the sun. How does it feel? Around you, all the planets are rotating. The Earth is somewhere there, number 4 or 5 in a row, depending on how we count. Feel this energy of the sun is now completely merged with you, and your remembrance of being part of the sun is activated. On this level, you exist as the particle within the sun, and you completely feel how it is to be the sun. What are some consciousness levels that you are feeling there? Are there some light beings living in the sun? do you feel their presence? This is our first door. Sun is our first door to our next portal. And how conveniently we are now in one of the arms of our galaxy, in the sun, with the planets rotating around us. All these beautiful different points of consciousness. And just as we did before, with the next deep breath in, we grow even larger to the size of our galaxy. And with the next breath, we translate from our heart being in the sun, we go with our heart in the center of our galaxy. Breath out when we are overlapped with the galaxy itself. We are at that size, and you can picture now that around your heart, the whole galaxy rotates. You are at that size. 26,000 years happen between one rotation happens. And you are in its center. You are one with the Milky Way galaxy. Your memory of this level of reality is now activated, and you are Milky Way yourself. So imagine that somewhere far on your left is one arm of you that contains the solar system, that contains Earth. And in one of your breaths as the galaxy, there are millions of lifetimes on Earth that are being born into existence and extinguished, millions in a millisecond. It's completely insignificant level for you right now. Your one rotation is 26,000 earthly years. And now go to your heart and feel that galactic center in center of you. What do you feel? How is it to be the Milky Way galaxy? It's a beautiful, complex, conscious being. And you remember how it is to be that. What energies do you feel? Who is present there? What other consciousnesses are there around you? Remember this frequency. This was your door number 2 in your cosmic exploration. You are Milky Way, and you have full remembrance of this frequency now. And now we go next. Our next step is going in an imaginary elevator right down from the center of the Milky Way galaxy. We travel about 15 times the size of our Milky Way galaxy. We go down, and with the next breath, you breathe in. With the breath out, we go towards Andromeda galaxy. With the next breath in, we stabilize, and with the breath out, in our hearts, we are aligned with the center of Andromeda galaxy. Take 1 or 2 breaths and stabilize yourself at the frequency of Andromeda galaxy. Andromeda galaxy is now in the center of your heart, and you have adjusted your size to be just the size of this galaxy. And feel what it feels to be Andromeda. How is it to be this Andromeda. Your memory of Andromeda galaxy being is fully activated right now. You have already been it. You know how it is. Just remember and allow yourselves to activate this remembrance. How does it feel to be in the center of Andromeda galaxy and be itself? What other intelligences are present? What other species? What other technologies? What is the shape, feeling, vibration? Just command yourselves to register and memorize this activated memory of being in Andromeda galaxy. It's back close to your everyday existence and you can activate it at any time again. Now we go on. With the next breath, we will take an elevator and go back towards the center of the Milky Way galaxy and above. So take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. We are zooming up and we are in the center of the Milky Way. We know this place. So next breath in, we go further. With the breath out, we go up, 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 up into the center of the Virgo galaxy cluster. Virgo galaxy cluster is about 50 times size of the Milky Way galaxy above. So with the 2 breaths, stabilize in the Virgo cluster of galaxies. This is now overlapped with your heart. You are the size of the Virgo cluster. You're about 1,000 times bigger than previously. You encompass billions of galaxies in this cluster. You are a Virgo supercluster right now. How does it feel to be a Virgo supercluster? You're a being that consists of 20 billion galaxies. How does it feel to be a consciousness that creates and discreates galaxies themselves? Your remembrance of being a supercluster is being activated right now. You operate on this level completely. Billions of years of earthly existence are milliseconds for you. Just feel those energies. Allow yourselves to remember. What are some intelligences active on this level of existence? The intelligences that create billions of galaxies at a time. Who is there? And now we command yourselves to record this state of being Virgo supercluster. This is very close to your everyday memory now. You're going to be able to come back at will. This is activated and written in your cells. And now we take to our last step of this journey, next step, and this is Shapely Great Attractor. This is a great attractor that we will take with the next deep breath in. So take a deep breath in. With a deep breath out, we grow 1 billion times. And we translate ourselves along the sacred geometry shape towards the shapely great attractor, we take another deep breath in, and with the deep breath out, we stabilize as this size of shapely great attractor. Your heart is overlapped with the center of great attractor. From here, everything in our observable material world has originated. This is called the great spiritual sun, and your heart is now overlapped with it. Billions of clusters of galaxies create every second from your heart right now. Just feel this immense feeling of creating billions of galaxy clusters every millisecond. We are activating your memory of existing on this level right now. It's in fully operational memory right now. Feel how it feels to be a center of the centers. All the material world originates here. All time, all space, all matter, everything originates here. All energy. How does it feel to operate on this level? On this level, the universes are being born and being destroyed at every millisecond. Your distant solar system has long stopped existing. And many of them have been created in milliseconds. What other intelligences are present here? Are there any other? Who is located around you? Record your frequency into your cells. This is now the station within your consciousness that you can quickly come back in meditation at any time. And now we take one step further. From this point, this is the final portal of all material space-time world. We take the next step and we leap into the darkness of the center of our hearts, and we step completely out of material right now. There is no matter. There are no words, no space and time. What is there? Your memory of this level of existence is fully activated right now. How does it feel to be outside of matter, space, time, and energy? To be pure consciousness. What do you feel from there? What are the laws that operate here? Who creates the laws? Now we are recording this level of existence onto your operational memory, And you're able to reach this point in your everyday meditations right now. All these points of remembrances are now embedded in your cells. You have a shortcut and you can come here at any time you want. And now we journey back. With the first breath in, we take the deep breath in, and with the breath out, we go back into the shapely supercluster. Just feel it for a moment. We take quickly the next breath in. With the next breath out, we go into the Virgo supercluster, 10 million times smaller. Next breath in. With the next breath out, we zoom through the Milky Way and go down to the Andromeda. Next breath in. With the breath out, we zoom and we are in the center of the Milky Way galaxy. The next breath in. We breathe out and we are in the center of our sun. Next breath in. We breathe out and we encompass the whole earth. We are earth once again. The next breath in. And in the wet breath out, we're at the surface of the earth. And with the next breath in and the breath out, we're in the city of where we are located on earth in this moment. And the last breath in and with breath out, we quickly land in a room where we are located. And we take 3 slow breaths to stabilize and be back in the space, time, and the place where we originally started from. Feel your body, feel your heart, connect with the place where you're sitting. Feel how your body touches the surface on which you're sitting. And slowly, in the next 3 breaths, we are coming back and slowly opening our eyes. 1, 2, we are back. Welcome back. So as usual, after these journeys, there are not many words that need to be said. What's important to know is that these places of consciousness are activated in your cells right now. They have been there for you all this time, but now we have activated them by actually being there. So I would suggest that you can use these portals to actually connect to those levels of consciousness. They're far beyond any astrologies and the places of consciousness that we ordinarily know, but we are all that at all time. So thank you. Thank you for your trust and coming to this journey with us today. Any last words, Evie?
Enjoy adjustments.
Yes. Yeah, from these levels of consciousness, we can look back and see how important are things that are happening around us. They're important and not at the same time as everything else. Thank you for sharing, Jill, that this was the place of your meditation as well.
So lots of love, and see you next time.
Lots of love, guys. Mwah.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.